And I don't trust the insurance companies. I trust me with my health care.
Thank you, Governor. Governor Romney, Arab Americans are feeling a bias after September 11th from their fellow Americans. Since we're in Dearborn, Michigan, one of the largest Arab Americans populations in the country, how would you change that?
Well, of course, we remind people that this is a nation that recognizes the equality of all individuals. We welcome people from all nations to come here. We also want to make sure that our nation is kept safe, and we're going to pursue any avenue we have to assure that people who might be preaching or teaching doctrines of hate or terror are going to be followed into a church or into a school or a mosque or wherever they might be. But we welcome people of all backgrounds and faiths, and we don't discriminate against people based on those things. The countries that we're battling around the world, they're the ones that distinguish based on those things, and we don't. And we, of course, welcome Arab Americans here in Dearborn and in places across our country.
Senator Thompson, what are the dangers of a weak dollar?
Dangers of a weak dollar is that it will damage us internationally. We've got to have a strong dollar because of the creditors that we have there. It helps our exports to a certain extent now, and we're enjoying that part of it. But any president of the United States has to stand behind a strong dollar. The whole world needs to know that we are good for our obligations.
Mr. Mayor, Hillary Clinton says that one of our biggest economic threats right now is how much of our federal debt is owned by foreigners, owned overseas. Do you agree?
Well, actually, the concern there should be the way to balance that is to sell more things overseas. That's the usual Democratic pessimistic approach to how bad things are, how terrible things are. How about we try an optimistic approach? The way to balance the books is sell more overseas. Sell energy independence, sell health care. Let's do it like in a positive way.
Senator Brownback, who would be your top economic advisor, your ideal advisor for economics?
I like the former chairman of the Federal Reserve's thoughts that he has would be a key individual. I think, though, you'd need to get really amalgam of people on economic issues. You talked about having economist says on this hand it goes this way, on that hand it goes this way, and so they always are saying they're looking for a one-handed economist. I think on economics, because the things do move around on you, you need a number of people. There's even a pretty good one in the audience, in Phil Gramm, the former senator out of Texas.
Senator McCain, has Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke cut interest rates aggressively enough?
Senator.
Has Ben Bernanke cut rates aggressively enough?
I don't have that kind of expertise to know exactly whether he has cut interest rates sufficiently or not, and that's why we put that responsibility in the hands of the head of the Federal Reserve. I do know that this nation has faced some pretty good blows in the last month or so with the credit crunch and the subprime lending. I'm glad that whenever they cut interest rates, I wish interest rates were zero, but we leave those responsibilities to the smartest people we can find, and I think that so far he's done a good job.
Congressman Paul, do you promise to support the nominee of the Republican Party next year?
Not right now, I don't. Not unless they're willing to end the war and bring our troops home, and not unless they're willing to look at the excessive spending. No, I'm not going to support them if they continue down the path which has taken our party down the tubes. I mean, we've lost credibility because of all our spending, because we have violated the civil liberties of all the American people, and we have adopted the Democrats' foreign policy. Why don't we run on George Bush's foreign policy of a humble foreign policy and no nation building, and don't police the world? Then I'll support
Let me try that by a couple of gentlemen on the right over here. Mr. Tancredo, would you pledge now to support the nominee of your party?
I've said I don't know how many times that I am absolutely tired and sick and tired of being forced to go to the polls and say I'm going to make this choice between the lesser of two evils. I really don't intend to do that again. I am hoping, of course, that whoever we nominate will be the principal flag carrier for the Republican Party. But if that is not the case, no, then I will not support.
Senator Brownback, same question. Would you support the nominee before you know who it is?
Yeah, I will support the nominee of this party. I think it's a big party that has a lot of different people in, a lot of different philosophies, and I believe that person that's going to lead the party will be somebody that is pro-growth and pro-life. I think these are two pivotal, key foundation issues that this party needs to stand for.
But if not, if they are not, would you still support them?
that's going to be. And I'm going to support the nominee of the party.
Congressman?
Yeah, I would support the nominee of the party, but also work with whoever that nominee is to make sure that they understand that the Republican Party was built on a respect for human beings. And I think if we lose that respect and that protection for unborn human beings, then the party that Abraham Lincoln founded will be no more.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Giuliani, is London going to replace New York as the financial capital of the world?
Pardon me?
Is London going to replace New York as the financial capital of the world? And if so, what are you going to do to change that?
No how, no way. Not going to happen.
Well, we're seeing an
Not
increasing
gonna
number.
happen.
We're seeing an increasing amount of business go to London.
Get your head up. Let's stop all this stuff with the head down. London going to replace New York? Give me a break. Of course London's not going to replace New York.
Well, the number of IPOs is higher in London in 07
Is the
than in
UK
New
going to
York.
replace the United States of America? This is the strongest economy on earth. It's the last best hope of humanity. We have been like that. If this generation can't keep it that way, shame on us. This country is the leader in the world. When Congressman Tancredo talks about the immigration problem, how about look at it this way? What country do millions of people want to come to? The United States of America. What country, I don't care if they bash us all over the world, what country do they most want to come to? What country do they most want to copy? What are China and India trying to do? China and India are trying to develop themselves